Okay. So, Dimitrios, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Me too, I'm fine. Well, yesterday we met, and it turned out we had this really
Great
nice common interest as well.
Exactly.
About, especially about the rituals, and you were telling about this about this ritual in a village. You lived in this village in Greece?
Not permanently, but I used to visit my grandparents who were there, and I was there for holidays, for festas, Easter, winter, and the summers.
Okay, and you participated in this ritual. What kind of ritual would you call it?
Actually, it's a paganistic ritual. It's a primitive ritual. It goes back thousands of years. It's not a revival. We found it like this. The grandparents found it like this, and their grandfathers, and so on. So it's not a revival. It's like it is a kind of carnival, but with a deeper meaning.
You told me it had elements of fertility and initiation.
Exactly.
Now, what makes this ritual a fertility ritual?
Okay, let's talk about not the stages but the appearance of the ritual.
Okay.
So we have goatskinners, which means that the young people of the village or the mature men participate in a gathering where they are transformed into goats. They wear goatskins on their back, they hang bells, they use a stick, on their head they have a hat covered by wings, or they have a rabbit skin filled with paper so that it's like a rubber on the head.
Yeah. And
their face and hands are covered by ash of fire. Black. They are black. This material is mixed with pork meat, pork fat, and it makes a kind of mask.
Okay.
So we gather at 8 o'clock in the morning at the local square of the village, and we visit with accompanied by traditional music.
Is this the moment you get up at 8 o'clock, and this is when the ritual starts?
Yes, it starts like that because the sun during that day, it's the New Year's Eve, it's the first day of the year, so the sun comes up at about 8 o'clock.
But you told me before that you already had some preparation before that.
There's a preparation.
The men are they're not sleeping too much, I believe, before starting this ritual.
On 31 of December, we don't sleep very much. We have a gathering, the young people and all the participants who will participate in the ritual, and we drink, we stay together, we talk about the other day. So we say we have a kind of sleep deprivation that day.
Yeah.
So it goes until when someone feels sleepy, he leaves, and he will be at 8 o'clock at the local square.
Okay, yeah.
Transformed into this appearance.
And it's still an appearance then.
Yes, it's still an appearance before it becomes deep.
Deep.
We visit every house of the village, drinking wine.
Yes.
Dancing and getting into a trance day, I would call it, through the music, through the dance, through the repeat. When you repeat a kind of movement, you get into a kind of altered state of consciousness.
Okay, I like what you're mentioning here, because I feel. Especially of my interest, this could be very important. This is why I asked about the preparation, getting into the ritual a little bit tired, your mind is not so aware then, and you're drinking alcohol, and this kind of helps you getting into this state of trance and alter your state of consciousness, because this is what I find important, because just recently I thought a ritual has a liminal state, a phase you're entering, but I was only thinking of this, well, of going, of leaving something behind, entering this phase of not belonging to the old situation and not yet to the new situation, yes. But there is all your mind is literally entering a state of liminality as well.
A state of liminality.
A
exactly.
Different kind of consciousness. Can you tell me about this? What is happening in this state?
Yes, in this state it doesn't go right away. It goes slowly. You get into this trance state very slowly. It doesn't happen like you put a button and you're just there. So you have suffered these preparations. Your body is exhausted, and there is a point that this liminality you mentioned, where you start to lose your ego, not your self-consciousness, but the distinction between you and the other participants, or even with nature. So you feel connected. The surface of civilization goes off.
So you feel you lose a connection?
Yes, as if you are possessed by the god that you were and that you are transformed in.
Okay.
So it's transformation. That's what I would call it. It's transformation with an anthropological meaning.
And you how would you call it? The spirit of the god, or?
We could call it like this if we go to Levi-Strauss and these anthropological studies. We could call it like an initiation, which is a possession of the god spirit. But we can see it in a broader way and say that it's an altered state of consciousness, which brings back our primitive instincts.
Okay, good.
Brings back the connection with the animal life, with the animal spirit, because you stop to use your language. You don't need the language that periods.
What kind of language are you talking about?
The language as a mediumship. When we talk together now, we use the language as a mediumship. But in those moments, the barriers of civilization just collapse.
Okay.
And you are connected with nature, with the other participants. It's something that cannot be expressed in words.
Okay.
Something you feel, you experience it.
Okay, so
that's why I call it initiation.
Ah, okay, because you told me, that's the initiation part, but there's also a fertility part.
Yes, and the fertility part is like this. The stick. Let's start with the symbolisms of the appearance.
Mm-hmm.
So the stick represents the sexual organ of the man. It's a phallus. It's a representation of phallus, which we know that in ancient societies or in primitive societies, it was a symbol of fertility.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because these societies were patriarchal.
Mm-hmm.
So the man was the symbol of fertility
Okay.
through the woman.
Okay.
So this is when we visit the houses, we mention the fertility as in a broader way. I mean that it's not about only the fertility of women, or it's to have a year of fertility in many aspects.
Not only, it's for the harvest, everything.
Exactly.
For all that grows, and
it takes the man and the woman as the symbol, but it goes broader.
It goes broader.
Broader.
Okay.
Yes. Also, you leave the past behind, also the future, and you just focused on the present, which goes to the future.
Okay.
But you overcome the past. So it's like a revival of a new year, of a new state of mind.
Yes, because it is celebrated on the eve of New Year, or the morning of New Year.
The morning of New Year till the night, till the 9 o'clock.
Okay, that's a moment, because do you don't think this it originally was celebrated on New Year's morning?
I think that it was celebrated older times during the summer solstice.
Exactly.
22 of December, 23, those days.
Those days.
But we have only 5 or 6 days delay in this ritual, so it doesn't mean much. And with the Gregorian calendar, when it changed, it might have affected the day that it was celebrated. So it's not. You can find these rituals during in global world during solstice, few days earlier, few days later. It's like that.
Okay, good. Well, you were talking about the symbolisms. You mentioned the stick as a fertility symbol, but the men are wearing more symbols. They're painting their faces black. They're wearing goat skins. Exactly. Actually, you called these men
goatskinners.
Goatskinners.
Yes, goatskinners. I call this in English.
Yeah.
Yes. So yes, they have a black face covered. This is a kind of mask. This is a primitive mask that also the primitive used to wear. They wear the goat skin, which represents the god, which was in Greece a symbol of fertility.
What god was it?
Pan.
Okay.
The ancient god Pan, named Pan.
That's the confusion. The god with the legs of a goat.
Yes.
But it's god skinners, not goat skinners.
Yes.
God.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And also it goes back to Dionysian celebrities, Dionysus.
Yes.
The god of wine, of celebration of life. So it's a celebration of life that day. It's a celebration of revival and fertility.
So it's saying goodbye to the time of darkness, and we're welcoming the light again.
Yes.
And is that somehow represented in the black faces? What does that mean?
The black face means represents the earth, the earth powers. Yes.
Okay.
That keep the earth dead because it's winter. So the bells wake up the spirits of earth.
Okay, they're wearing bells as well.
Yes, they're wearing bells. Yes,
okay.
We could show a picture which shows exactly the appearance. And when they dance, there is a huge sound of bells. Even if you're kilometers away, you can hear these sounds. So it's a kind of enthusiasm, true enthusiasm.
Good. There has been... and you mentioned earlier, well, not in this interview, we prepared it a little bit, but you mentioned that the ritual has elements of sacredness and holiness.
Yes,
and it's also connecting the community. Could you tell me something about the sacredness and holiness?
Actually, in this custom, in this ritual, we're talking about a ritual and not a party, not a carnival which is just for drinking, and there is a deeper meaning. So there is sacredness, there is holiness, it's a kind of liturgy. It goes back to magical way of thinking, not to the scientific Western way of seeing the things, how the world or the cosmos works. So it's a kind of a call to spirits to give harvest, to give fertility with an analogical way. I mean that you go to a house, and if a girl is not married or has no kids, the goatskinners visit her so that they give her fertility. So it's a kind of magical preparation liturgy. That's why I call it sacredness.
Okay.
We have a sacred element which is lost in the modern carnivals.
Okay, and the sacredness, that is a call upon the gods to bring fertility. Okay. Is that, do I understand correctly?
I understand. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
good.
This is it.
Yeah. And
because we're talking about the pre-Christianic custom.
Yeah.
So it goes with polytheism, actually.
Oh. Okay, good. But Christianity went to play a part in this ritual as well.
Yes. You see that that day there is a liturgy, Christian liturgy at the local church, where the people the women visit the church for this liturgy. And the goatskinners, this carnival, is outside on the yard of the church, and when the liturgy is finished, they chase and paint the faces of the Christians who come out of the church.
Okay.
So this is the symbolism that the pagan spirit tries to chase the Christians, which was a religion that came later, and there is this meaning in this.
And the church actually allows this to happen.
Exactly. There were some objections of the church, but they were not fulfilled. The custom was kept as it is.
And the church even plays a role.
Yes.
And they.
Yes. Because the people dance with the carnival when they are out of the church.
Okay.
So yes.
That's good. And did we? Well, the ritual. When you're at the church, I think that the ritual is quite some time on its way.
15 minutes, yes, until the church, because we arrive at the church.
Yeah.
Just a few minutes before it ends, the liturgy.
Okay.
Before it ends, so we wait at the yard until it's off.
And is the church the only place you visit, or are you visiting more places in the village?
We visit every house.
Yes.
Every house to give wishes, to give fertility, to dance with the people who live in this house. And when it's time for the church to the liturgy to finish, we visit the yard of the church.
Okay.
And then we carry on with other houses. So we end up when we visit all the houses, we end up at the local square of the village, where there is a huge celebration. Much wine, dances.
Wine again.
And stuff, yes, and stuff like this, which goes till night.
Oh, so. But okay, so it's not finished at that moment, but
no.
I want to go back to the houses again, because a lot of things are happening in the houses.
Yes.
What can you do? What is the meaning of you visiting that house? You not only what you just told me, but what if someone has recently died in a house?
Yes, for example, if someone has died in this house, they will play lamentation.
Okay.
The musical instruments will play lamentation. And as Herman, you saw in the videos, the music is pentatonic and minor, melancholic music of the mountains of this area of Greece. Mm-hmm. So they play myroloi, they call it myroloi, which means lamentation.
Okay. But that's a different kind of music as the melancholic music.
Yes.
That melancholic music actually helps you to get in this different state of consciousness.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This pentatonic, this haunting music, I would call it haunting music, makes you really get a dive in yourself, in your inner self.
Okay.
Although you dance, although you are in a connection, actually you lose the barriers of yourself.
It helps you losing barriers, it helps you losing your ego. Exactly. And you get open for the spirits of the gods.
Yes.
And do women play a role in this ritual?
Because we are talking about a primitive ritual which goes back to ancient years, thousands of years back. So we talk about patriarchal societies. So the women actually are forbidden to participate, to transform themselves like the men. Even
the women are not allowed to transform themselves. Okay.
Yes, and in previous years there was a whip that the goatskinners used to whip in a soft way, of course, the woman, so that they give them fertility.
Okay.
Yes, and the women they can follow the carnival, but they cannot get transformed. It was a matter of men.
Okay.
But you can see that the group also has brides with it. Young men who are dressed in woman clothes.
Okay.
Yes.
And how do are these special kind of men?
They are men who have a soft appearance.
Yeah.
Stuff like this. So they're more female or gentle.
And is it only one, or can there be more of these?
The central is one, but there more can be accepted.
And they dress up as women?
Yes, with the traditional woman cloth of the village.
Yes.
And there is also a groom who is also...
So a groom, so they are actually not just women, but they are kind of bride.
A bride, yes.
Yes.
A bride, and the groom of the bride, who is also dressed in the traditional cloth. And we have iconic and theatrical marriages.
Okay.
So we come back to fertility again.
Okay. This marriage also symbolizes the fertility.
Yes,
okay.
exactly.
Good. And can I participate in this ritual?
Yes, this is a good question. You can participate in this ritual as long as you have a bond with one person in the village. Otherwise, you would not be. There is not an official law, but you would not feel very welcome because it's a communitarian thing. It's a ritual that is for the community. So you would feel strange if you didn't have any bond and you just saw this ritual on YouTube or you read about this and you just go there.
And would I understand this ritual? We're getting friends. Mm-hmm. I'm invited to the village to participate. Yes. But would I understand the deeper levels of this ritual? What do you think of that?
I think that you would understand the deeper levels as long as you were welcomed. Otherwise, you wouldn't.
Okay.
So, since you have a bond with the village, since you have a friend in the village, and if you participated, I think that you would understand the deeper meaning of it. Okay. You would feel it. You would not understand it. You would feel it.
Okay, because it's interesting. It took me a long time to understand. Well, or to get part of the deeper layers of the carnival.
Yes.
My wife, she's from the south, I'm from the north. She raised up celebrating carnival. I wasn't. And even after 10 years, people participating in this ritual with local inhabitants, well, people could still see. Didn't matter how I dressed up. There's the stranger again.
Okay, yes.
So and only after 10 years, some said, "I think you're getting the point of it," and I still don't know what this means. Is it something in the way I act or the way I dress? Yes. I thought I missed something in that, but
maybe yes.
But
here it's a ritual that you don't need the language, you don't need the logic in order to function in this ritual.
Okay.
You just need to be open to feel and to be connected.
And you think I could, it could happen to me to get in this state of altered consciousness?
I think that you have the theoretical tools so that you can understand the deeper meaning and then feel it.
Okay.
Because and then there's a separation between understanding and feeling. And
well, that's important. The feeling you get, the loss of ego.
Exactly.
A feeling. Be prepared to lose your ego and get into this.
Being prepared. It's all about being prepared in this ritual. To have the enthusiasm, because the word enthusiasm, it's a Greek word which means enthusiasmos. God is within me.
Yeah.
So you can be possessed by God that day if you're prepared.
So that's interesting too, because then God is not something outside of you, but
yes, this is the meaning of all these rituals. Yes, the transformation.
Yeah.
So you are transformed.
Okay.
You overcome your logical and reasonable nature, and you go back to your roots. Mm-hmm. To your roots, to the animal spirit. You're connected with nature because Pan and the goats were a symbol of nature, of course. So you go back there. You abolish the barriers of civilization.
Wow.
Yes.
Very good. And well, then Is this your first time in the Netherlands? Or?
Yes, my first time.
Okay, and you have recently learned about our festival, Sinterklaas.
Yes, Piet, Sinterklaas, how you call it? Yes.
Yes, and you've never celebrated Sinterklaas?
No, just reading about this, seeing pictures.
And what do you think of it?
I think that this kind of ritual was like the ritual in Greece, like the rituals in Krampus in Austria. It was like that. They used to make a mask by ash, and they used to celebrate in a communitarian way. But then, through Christianity, they tried to absorb church elements in this, so that they abolish it or even change it completely.
Because that I find that very interesting. You come to the Netherlands, you don't know this Sinterklaas ritual. You've seen pictures about it, and perhaps you have talked about it,
yes.
and you obviously see similarities with the ritual from your own village.
Absolutely.
This remote village, not influenced
yes.
by
modernity.
Modernity, and you. So and you see or feel that these kind of rituals are related to each other.
Absolutely, I believe so.
Okay.
And we need to have in mind that here modernity is more advanced than in Greece. Here modernity is more flat than in Greece.
Yeah.
So this ritual here was really changed dramatically.
But you see also virtuality elements, elements of
fertility elements,
okay.
the stick of the Santa Claus,
the
masks, the carnival atmosphere.
Yeah.
So it all goes. It's not a Christian custom, although they put Santa Claus inside.
No, I find this interesting because rituals are a lot about symbols, and I think. That makes rituals so powerful because even without knowing the ritual, you somehow recognize the symbolism in it because it touches to deeper levels of your of your consciousness.
It's not accidental that this ritual still exists.
No.
Although yes, we live in 2017 and they still exist.
Yes.
And we can find them even in the European Union in the unspoiled way as they were thousands of years back. So it says something. It means a lot.
So when
it touches the inner soul.
Okay, because there's a lot of discussion going on in the Netherlands about this ritual. A lot of people feel discriminated by it because it reminds them about the period of slavery. The Dutch were much involved in
colonialism.
Well, in fact, you're telling me I did not see that in the ritual. You saw different things.
A different thing. I see that. So it's an ancient ritual also here. So it's not about discrimination or about this is a mask, a primitive mask. But in modernity they translate it as if it was a racist or stuff like this.
Okay.
But it goes back, if we go back to its roots, if these are the roots, then there is not a problem with the meaning.
No, well, that's important for me as well. That's what I feel about Sinterklaas. We should bring, especially Zwarte Piet, back to its roots.
Exactly.
And then we can get rid of all these slavery things, clothes that remind us about the period of slavery. And when we bring it back to its roots, fertility and community and initiation.
This was all about.
That it's all about.
And it is lost in modernity because the ideology, the ideological tools are different in modernity than ancient and primitive periods. So people can see discrimination in this.
Yeah.
So they can see
obviously, because I think they have a point. I don't want to
underestimate their No,
No, I don't want to underestimate their feelings, and
No.
and I want to respect those feelings.
Absolutely.
And I'm also trying to find a way out, and I think this story will contribute to that, and I also hope it will contribute to the celebration of the ritual in your village, that it will stay alive for another 2,500 years or
let's
even
hope
longer.
so.
Yes.
Let's hope